Okay, guys, we're going to learn and remember about our earthworms book, okay? So we're going to be doing lesson 16 today. And lesson 16, it wanted us to turn to page 15 of our earthworms book. So I printed out page 15, and I'm going to read it to you guys, and we're going to talk about it, and then we'll answer our two questions, okay? Okay. A worm's bristles are very important in helping it move. The worm digs its bristles into the soil to anchor itself, okay? So a worm's bristles are very important, okay? What does the worm do with its bristles and the soil? What does it do? The worm does what? It digs, okay? So the worm digs its bristles into the soil, okay? And what is the worm doing when it digs itself into the soil? It's acting like a anchor, okay? So it's being stuck in place, okay? So it's to anchor itself, all right? This is how it starts, by helping itself to move. Now, how a worm moves in the soil. A worm moves by pointing its head in the direction it wants to go. It anchors the back of its body and then head and becomes thicker, okay? So, it points its head in the direction it wants to go. It anchors the back and the head ends becomes thicker, okay? Then the worm then stretches its body to push through the soil. It anchors the front of its body and brings up the rear, okay? So in picture one, as we see, the head is a lot thicker when it's moving, okay? And then in the second picture, it's a lot thinner because it's pushing through to move itself all the way back to the rear. And it keeps that motion going forward, okay? So, our question is, what do the words tell about how a worm uses its bristles to move? Okay, our hint is, how does a worm anchor itself? How does a worm anchor itself? What did we just say? It what? It digs. So a worm digs itself into what? What does a worm dig itself into? The dirt or the soil. Good. Into the soil. Okay? What information is in the pictures? Okay, what did the pictures tell us? How did it talk to us about how the worm moved, right? So, how does the worm's body change? What happens to the head? What happens to the head of the worm? Does it get thin or thick? Thick, that's right. So first, the worm gets thick. Then it moves, and what happens after it moves? Does the worm stay thick, or does it get long and thin? Gets long and thin, that's right. Good. So, what did the page tell us about worm and its bristles? How does the worm use its bristles? We said a worm digs itself into the soil. So a worm uses its bristles to dig itself into the soil, and it creates an anchor. Then, in the picture, it tells us first the worm gets thick, then the worm gets long and thin. Good job, guys. That's all I have for you today.